Hello. Welcome to this tender.com video, where I will be explaining what is a tender. The event that you need detailed information, feel free to visit our website. So what is a tender? A tender is an invitation to bid for a project, issued by a state entity or company to potential suppliers, asking them to submit information for evaluation to select the preferred supplier. The awarding of the tender follows applicable procurement policies. In any country, it's important to distinguish between tender, the request, and tendering, the process of inviting and evaluating bids for goods or services. Now I will be explaining types of tenders in South Africa, which are primarily open tenders, closed tenders, and unsolicited bid. Open tenders are tenders that are open to everyone that wishes to apply. It is the most competitive type of tender. Government tenders are generally classified as open tenders. An open tender aims to ensure transparency, fairness, and competition in the procurement process. The organization issues a public notice inviting all interested parties to submit bids, outlining project requirements, deadlines, and how to obtain tender documents. To participate, suppliers must meet specified criteria, including experience, qualifications, and financial resources. After the bid submission deadline, the organization evaluates the proposals both technically and financially. The contract is awarded to the successful bidder, with legal channels available for any disputes. However, open tenders can be time-consuming and costly for suppliers. Closed tenders are those that only selected or pre-qualified service providers are invited to bid or respond to. Private company tenders would generally be classified as closed tenders. Government tenders can only be closed tenders if it is in the public interest from both an economic and security point of view. A closed tender is a more selective procurement process compared to an open tender, where only pre-qualified suppliers are invited to submit bids. Suppliers must first apply to be pre-qualified by providing information about their experience, qualifications, and financial resources. After pre-qualification, a select group is invited to bid. The evaluation and award process is similar to an open tender, but closed tenders are used for complex projects requiring specialized expertise. While they are more focused and efficient, closed tenders can be less transparent and competitive due to the limited number of participants. Lastly, we have an unsolicited bid, which is an offer made by a service provider to provide a good or service which the government or private sector is not actively seeking for. For an unsolicited bid to be considered, it needs to demonstrate genuine innovation and/or the use of proprietary technology, must offer value for money, and the service provider needs to be the sole supplier or has exclusive rights. Now that we know what is a tender, let's get clarity on who issues tenders in South Africa. Tenders in South Africa are issued by various organizations, both in the public and private sectors. Laws and regulations, such as the Municipal Finance Management Act and the Public Finance Management Act, govern the issuing of tenders in South Africa. Public sector organizations, such as government departments, agencies, and local authorities, issue tenders to procure goods and services for the public, following strict guidelines to ensure transparency and fairness. These tenders cover a variety of goods and services, including construction, IT systems, and professional services, and are typically advertised in newspapers or online. Private sector organizations also issue tenders but face fewer regulatory requirements, though they must still adhere to ethical and legal standards to maintain fairness. Regardless of the sector, the procurement process must be transparent and comply with laws to ensure the best supplier or service provider is selected. I hope this video was informative and useful. Feel free to visit our tender.com website where you can buy our tender guidebook. It will help simplify your tender process and get detailed information. You can also contact us for any queries.